I'm standing here in Wodonga, and it's a bit unusual being in Wodonga because I've got the Albury Mayor with me, Kevin Mack's come along, and I've actually been to a launch of a great program actually, Kevin, combining Albury and Wodonga from a tourism perspective. I think it's a great concept, and obviously Albury and Wodonga, two different states, two different cities, but work very closely together.
Oh, look, it's like any region, you've got to leverage off what you've got and maximise your opportunities. I think, you know, Dubbo is a big region, and certainly you've got a lot of kilometres there you cover, but you've got to bring all those smaller regions into one big region and leverage off the best opportunities where you can spend money and certainly provide infrastructure.
Kevin took over as Evocities chairman after the amalgamation, and I lost my role as Evocities chairman, but Evocities is a similar concept where you're taking seven, in the case of Evocities, 7 different cities and bring them into one common messaging platform.
Yeah, and it's about marketing the regions as best you possibly can, and when you represent your city, in terms of Dubbo, whether it's Albury or Dubbo, you're actually representing a region. You know, the Evocities platform is an opportunity for any elected official, whether it be local, state or federal, to leverage off great marketing, great lifestyle opportunities, great collateral that has been in existence for 10 years. It's unique to Australia. So again, you know, as your position on the chair and as chairing and as a councillor and as a mayor, that the best way to market your city, we couldn't pay for that marketing individually. So for the money that we spend, we're getting market penetration into the Sydneys and Brisbanes and Melbournes that we wouldn't be able to afford normally. So it's a great product. I know when you were running the chair at Evocities, and I think from that level it was mainly an operationally based platform. Now it's more of a led platform by the mayors and the general managers of the respective cities, but it changed its profile and changed its thinking about being more about the global benefit and the global impact it can have. And I think technology is one of those things, and it's a space you took it into because it needed to go there. And I think, and event-based strategies and all those things that bring people to the regions, and not just to visit, to stay. I think, you know, that's where the benefit is.
Yeah, and as you know, I mean, you were one of the mayors. We had 7 mayors sitting around the table, and you're quite right. I did lead that change, that policy change. Really, it was a different beast when we came along and said, let's change the focus of Evocities. I think the focus is right now, and I was proud to be a part of that, but all the mayors could see the logic of where I was going and came along for that journey as well, which was important to get all those mayors coming along to make sure that it was a collective, it was 7 of us all working together, and I think what we're seeing now as a result of that is fantastic.
Yeah, we're getting results. And I think really, had we not had that maturity to move it into the space of management of mayors and general managers more specifically and more strategically, it would still be just being used as a marketing platform and not a regionally based, energised platform. And again, like I said, you moved it from that, we're getting into that global space to we're in the global space, let's measure it, let's make it work, and let's actually be able to say we're achieving. The other thing that we've noticed is with Dubbo in the bigger cities like Albury, they actually move to Dubbo or Albury first, and then they go out to the smaller townships, because travelling 15-20 minutes to Dubbo or Albury is not a big deal. So they actually benefit the smaller towns around, and certainly that is that regional thinking, regional strategy. So Wellington, I know Wellington has had a lot of people that moved from Sydney to Dubbo move to Wellington because they want that lifestyle, but they also want a cheaper alternative for lifestyle.
Yeah, and we just talk about the satellite cities, or satellite towns, sorry. So the Narromines, the Wellington, some of those smaller communities around there, even in Dubbo's case, the Gearys, the Yamundrus, the Wongarbans, they all benefit out of someone like Dubbo having people move there. So the Evocities is important. You did mention the word marketing earlier, and some people have written off Evocities as just a marketing program. Well, as a marketing program, it is still very important to market the regional cities, because a lot of people in the city don't know what we've got to offer in regional cities. But as you've said, it is a marketing program, but it's also becoming much more than that. But I think money is one of those constraints that we really need to address.
This current generation of social networking and marketing platforms, we can do so much more a lot cheaper. But it's just that electronic advertising, it's penetrating that Sydney market with billboards and all that stuff that makes a difference to people that we've identified as opportunity. And I think if we have that money now with the maturity we've got now, it's just going to make a huge difference. It's going to break it open, because we've moved from a marketing platform, and in that time when mayors took over, when you first took over, to now, We've delivered numerous submissions to state and federal inquiries about the benefit of regional living, and we've become experts in that field. Instead of a spokesperson talking about how great Evocities is, it's now about decentralisation, benefit of regional living, what that looks like, facts and figures, and all that information that the government doesn't have to pay for. It's unique to Australia, this platform.
We spent some time together as when you were mayor, still mayor now, but when I was mayor and you were mayor, at Inland Forum, at Evocities, and just basically working around that environment. One of the big criticisms that I hear, mainly put forward by the parties, is that an independent can do nothing. You have to have someone from a party to be able to achieve anything. From your experience and your knowledge of what you've seen from me, working alongside me in those similar roles, how do you think I will go achieving something for the electorate of Dubbo if I'm elected as an independent?
Well, I don't think you'll let matters lie. I think, again, it's easy to go on the party line and actually say, well, nothing for Dubbo, okay, no worries, nothing for Dubbo. But as an independent, you can actually have a stronger voice, and you can bring the people along on the ride. So you marginalise a seat, you provide the community access to your office, and you provide that information to the government, and basically how can they ignore it? I think, again, party politics has too much to do with what's happening in Sydney and the coast, and not enough to do with what's happening in the region. So the National Party particularly gets dwarfed by the bigger Liberal Party policy, and essentially I see that a lot of the regional stuff, even though they've spent money in the last 2 years, fantastic, is it going to be sustainable, is it going to last? People shouldn't be duped by that. I think, again, we need to have sustainable regional economies and regional communities that have good representation. I think someone like yourself has the passion, has the leadership, and has the style to make that happen. And unfortunately, like I said, if you're part of a major party, your voice and your community's voice can be drowned. And I think that is really what you bring to the table. And especially if there's an active crossbench, which, again, I think nationally and from a state perspective, people are saying, I've had enough of these major parties. We want a voice, and we want to make things happen for us. And I think, again, politicians, the Liberal Party back in the 40s was formed out of 15 small independent parties. I think they should go back to what they were doing, because at least then you had equal representation across the democratic processes of government. Now it's just one way or the highway, and both seem to be the same. It's like vanilla, but I think you offer a bit of colour, good voice, you know what your community wants, and certainly you're prepared to work for it. And you don't have to do this. You could sit back and let it all be what it is, but you want to be passionate, you want to make a difference, and I think that's one thing I've noticed from the start. You've always wanted to make that difference, as I have, and clearly what you've done in Dubbo as the mayor and what you continue to do whilst running for this particular election is evidence of that. You've been running for 6 months, mate. Who else has been doing that? You're passionate. You want it badly. You don't have to do it. But if people want a decent voice and want someone that's passionate about their community, you're the man.
Thanks, Kev. It's great to see you again.
All right, mate.